Hi everybody, woo! Here we are back again. Of course, day number 5. That's what we're in. Day number 5 of PulseX Sacrifice. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Let me check the audio, make sure it's up and running. Oh, it sounds pretty good to me. So let's go for it. Let's just go for it. Stop mucking around. Let's go. All right. So anyway, so we've got here we are on Hex.com. I always like to start with Hex.com. If you're new to Hex, of course, do check out Hex.com. Learn everything about it. It is the first big mega product from Richard Hart, and of course, building out a world-class ecosystem that's going to be number one, numero uno, number one. So definitely check out Hex.com. And of course, once you've done that, check out Pulsechain.com. It's going to be like a Uniswap, but it's going to be the first system state copy of every single project and token on there. It's going to be super amazing, and of course, the biggest airdrop in crypto history. So definitely check that out. All the benefits faster and cheaper, and of course, the biggest yield farming in history as well, with PulseX, which the sacrifice is on at the moment. That's how the capital raise is done, sacrificing via that way. Expect nothing, of course, and doing it for a good cause. So let's jump over to PulseX, and here we are. So this is the third product that sort of wraps up the big ecosystem that Richard Hart is building out. So very, very cool. And that's where we're going to start today, folks. So get in the chat, say hello. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And let's just get into the comments at the moment. But on the ETH chain, we've got 277.5 million sacrificed so far, looking terrific, and almost 170 million on the Hex side, and over 70 million in Ethereum and USDC, almost 23.5 million. That's looking pretty stellar there. Tether at 7.3 million, and wrap up number 5 is Wrap Bitcoin at 2.1 million. So going really good. On top of that is over 13 million sacrificed for non-ETH chain sacrifices, including Bitcoin and stuff like that. So pretty awesome. Going good. That makes probably over 290 million now, and heading towards 300 million, which is the title of the video. We're targeting that next. So it's going to be pretty cool. Let's get into the chat here, and let me go for gold. Before we do that, of course, we've got a poll on at the moment, and we've got 18 votes so far. How much have you sacrificed that you guys have sacrificed for your planned amount? Obviously, planned amounts can change, particularly with FOMO. They can make it change too. The prices going down can make it change, all sorts of things. But for your planned amount, how much have you sacrificed for PulseX so far? We've got 50% out of 18. That's 9 out of 18 so far. I said 100% all in, baby. Yeah, baby, yeah. 22% have said well on my way to moon, and that's 51 to 99%. 11%, that's 1 in 10 people, have said 26 to 50% waiting for higher prices. A lot of people have made that comment. They want to try and get a better price, particularly if they're holding Hex or another token, ERC20, that moves with the price of US dollars. And then, of course, 0 to 25%, I will get there in the end. I like that one. That's kind of a hopeful one. I'll get there in the end, 17%. So very, very nice. Get into the poll, folks. Fill it out. Let's go. And I'm going to get to the comments now. Let's get in there. So Ryan Lopez is in the house, of course. Got to have the Ryan in the house. Awesome stuff. So go Ryan and tweet out your channel today. I super appreciate that, Ryan, as you know. So very, very cool. And Marco's in the house. Woohoo! So good to see Marco as well. Blissful Satire's in there. It's got even a bigger woohoo. There's a bit of a competition going on there for the woohoo, but welcome, Blissful. Now Lo says, who is the owner of the sacrifice address? No expectations of others in the sacrifice vest. No one really knows. So this is the way to go there now. But hey, this is the third one. We had the Hex, of course, had a 350-day AA lobby, and of course Ethereum went in, and no one knows what happened to that. Of course, Pulsechain in July 15th through to a 3rd of August had a sacrifice, and of course from the public point of view, somewhere between 700 and 750 million dollars got sacrificed for that. So no one knows what that happened to that. And of course, we know we've got PulseX. We're already heading towards 300 million, and of course the same dynamics apply. But what you're getting yourselves into, folks, is some of the best tokenomics in crypto history, if not the very best. And of course, the ecosystem is going to be the best. It's going to be the gold standard, and of course, exciting times. Hex, of course, was the best chart of 2020 and most of 2021, and I'm sure that in 2022 it's going to stamp itself on 2022 as well. Expecting some big rises in Hex price from my point of view. And we've talked a lot about the drivers, the fundamental drivers for that. So it's going to be pretty exciting. So welcome, Nah. And Smog's in the house says, Hex Token, another stream. Tremendous consistency. Hey, Smog, appreciate that. Hey, it's onwards and upwards. We're not stopping here. 2022 is going to be mind-blowing for Hex, for Pulsechain, and for PulseX. It honestly is going to shock the rest of the crypto market. And if you're here early, well, congratulations. That's all I'm going to say. Business M2K says, whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, nice one. And good to see Business 2K in the house as well. And I'm not sure what happens to my scroll bar here. Zoom says, let's go. Absolutely. And God says, blissful sitar. Yeah, nice one. And regarding the sacrifice address, Yakia Aloni says, Happy New Year, bro. Which get to 1 cent first, PulseX or Pulsechain, for your opinion. So I'm kind of expecting both to have crazy prices on the open. So it's too hard to tell the Yakia. I do obviously think that PulseX has, with the swapping over, it has a lot of turnover in there, but so will Pulsechain over the whole line. So I think both of them are going to do pretty well to get up to that stage, but not sure if it will happen straight away. We could see typically see a spike at the beginning of crypto charts. No reason why that's not going to be the same case after the AMM bot runs the prices, the ratios. So it's going to be interesting to see on that one. So yeah, not think anyone really knows. I've pretty much said that I think PulseX could get up to 001 or something like that, but it may spike over that. And of course, you got to understand that if it gets to a certain point, you know, for the whales, it's like a 40x. For the small retail that got on at a lower rate, you know, quadruple 04, for example. But if you get, as soon as you go up, you know, the rates get up to the retail. The whales are generally less worried about them. A lot of people worry about the whales. They get the multiplier bonus, but typically those guys, there's only so much liquidity. Also, a lot of those guys have a long-term game view. I think if you think about the Hex Real God, well, always talking about long term, and I think a lot of those with the big bags, they typically have a long term. Even if some of them decide to sell out, maybe this is the smaller ones. You got the big whales that may be intending to take even more market dominance if they see favorable prices. So it's going to be an interesting play there as well. Zoom. All right, am I at the horse races? Says Zoom. I think you are, Zoom. You are at the horse races. Here we go, folks. We're off at the horse races. Here comes Little Blue. Little Blue's coming in, and then comes Black Horse. Black Horse is down. And then we see Rainbow's coming in. Rainbow. There we are. That's about as fast as the race goes. All right, so NFT. Summer Solar says already 100%. I'm going to dollar average sacrifice till mid-February, says Summer Solar. Say nice one there. Hey, this yield farming is going to be ginormous. Really is going to be, PulseX will be super awesome. And as I say, you know, we're going to have a lot of retail people flocking from all around crypto land to get into the yield farming on PulseX, and of course the burn and buy potentially in the hundreds of millions of dollars. It's going to be pretty epic. And Pulsechain itself is going to have a lot of the big whales wanting to come into that. A lot of billionaires that potentially that are wider looking going to be, you know, coming into that, because that suits their kind of investment thesis, thinking about Ethereum. Can when they get a real big position on a comparable chain, but that's actually superior in speed and cost, cheaper on cost. So I think that's definitely a play for them. NFT, it says, I'm still trying to flip a few NFTs before day 10. A little risky, but I'm aiming to moon with this investment. A smart move then NFT, and I think that probably play out well for you as well. I'm actually doing a couple of similar things to you, NFT. Yeah, I'm trying to get that, and then if I can put it into these and get the big multiple, that's what I'm chasing down to. So nice one. Thinking in the same way there. Zoom says 100% in. I would be sick losing 10% of stack. They could potentially 100x. Well, that's true, but it's better to be in at some rate during this early time than not, right? So probably the way I look at it. Smash the thumbs up, absolutely. Business M2K's in the house. Yeehaw. Hey, welcome everybody, of course. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and get into the chat. We love a vibrant chat. And of course, I know that there's been a couple of YouTubers on already. I think Crypto Heartbeat may be wrapping up his show, doing really good there. He's looking to do some Pulse outreach, so setting up a little trust there to give away. So it's pretty cool from Crypto Heartbeat. Just caught the end of his live stream. And of course, we've seen a few others as well. I think Belly Brand's going to be doing a live stream at some stage today. Not sure if he's done that already, but yeah, there's a few others out there. So very cool. Share the love as well. Zoom says, lol, that's awesome. Yeah. And Blake Cuss says, what's your take on the current Hex price dump at Wild Games? Yeah, well, there was a lot of supply coming out at the moment, so out of the stakes, and also there was also a lot in circulating supply. I talked about in my daily vid the fact that we're up to, we had about 3.7 billion come into circulating supply on Hex since the beginning of November because all these stakes coming out, and obviously the sacrificed amount doesn't get taken out of the circulating supply number because it's just going to another wallet, and so we're going to take that into account. And so at the moment, I said in a daily vid, I said basically even with this sacrifice at the moment, we've kind of netted off, netted off $500 million off that. So down to about 3.2, and so the higher the sacrifice goes, gets over $1 billion, that number's going to just go down, right? We've had a lot of the big stakes come out, but we have seen some strategic stakes be remade after the second. Remember, the second was the date, and of course now we've seen a couple of short stakes. We've got a stake coming out on the 9th. It's got $500 million in that, and then we've got a stake coming out on the 28th of February. Very strategic positions those are. So we're going to watch for that as well. The one on the 9th may be speculating that the price might rally up on the last day, and then they might try and sell down. Just got to not all of it, but just some of it. And so we'll see whether they try to make that play. The other side of it is, of course, they may even sacrifice a bit, but I think it's more around the price play. So because otherwise you'd stake it earlier on the 8th or something. And then also the one on the 28th is pretty interesting, just before Pulsechain launch. They may expect a rally in price. Maybe they're thinking about in-staking there and having some flexibility around price. So definitely big wild games are being played from the looks of it, just by implied positions where they're staked. But once again, the front end of that staking ladder is starting to break up. So even though we see a lot of big OGs with daily, doing weekly or 30 days or 60 days or longer, even the ones that have been longer, like staked for a year or so, 270 days, that sort of stuff, that's all starting to break up slowly. It takes time to break up, but it is starting. I think we're past the first 2 years. That was the most critical thing, because a lot of people were like, they stake for a certain amount of time, say, how long is this going to last? But now that Hex has proven itself, there's a lot more confidence, and that stuff's starting to break up. Some people that wanted to sell and get the US dollar gains have kind of sold their bags. Some of them are still mixing around. Sometimes they buy back in higher. You get a lot of mixed stuff going on, but that front of that staking ladder is just starting to break up, and that's a positive thing. We're definitely going to watch that over the next 3 to 6 months to see that continue. And I think in 2022, with a lot of big buyers potentially coming in from Hex scale, other billionaires, etc., that sort of thing, in the pipelines, we could see a lot of that stuff getting eaten up slow time. And once we start to move through that, we want them to sell cheap. We want them to sell under $1, and particularly under 50 cents if we can. The more that sell underneath that, the easier it is the price to rise. So we're just going to watch that sort of thing. So hopefully that helps with that as well. Roots guys in the house. Hey Hex, how are you? Hey, good. I'm feeling good. It's super hot here, super sunny here, and a nice cool wind coming in. For sure, good to see Runes guys in the house. Mickey says probably pulling profit. A lot of people had large stake in it at December. That's right, Mickey. And EZ says, who thinks 1000x? Hey, Richard's talking about 10,000x. Why not? Says Richard. Why not? So there we go. And yeah, so I definitely think you should have a 2-year time horizon as well. So it's probably a good time horizon to have. Roscoe says, let's go. Hey, Roscoe. Hey, good to see you in the chat there. And Robert says 100,000x, says Robert. And EZ says, clown. Let's not let's keep the words nice in the chat, please. It's just we don't need any negative stuff in the chat. Zoom Truth says, Richard say 10,000x possible. Wow, yeah. And $8 Hex, yeah. So obviously quite a few people are calling for like a $7 Hex. What was it? Let me say it right now. A Crypto Spa Book, I think, is the channel. Did I get it right for the first time ever? I'm not sure. Crypto Spa Book. They're talking about $7 on the 555 tour, and I'm fairly comfortable with that price. I think $5 to $15 entirely possible next year, particularly by the time we get 23, we could easily be in the teens, if not higher than that. And it's all subject to the big money coming in. The big money is the key for that to happen. So, and it's happening. All those fronts are being pushed by a lot of people at the moment. We've talked about that a lot. Robert Oxman says, how yes, it's possible. And Robert Oxman says, PulseX at $1 is 10,000x. How about a $1,000 PulseX? Yeah, let's not get too ahead of ourselves at this stage. I am relatively conservative in my expectations, but hey, over time it's going to be huge. No, I just know it's going to be massive over time. Let me put it that way. Dr. Kendall says rich people don't care about you. That's right, but they will do what's in their self-interest, and you can play along with that too. There, Dr. Kendall. Hey, buddy, have 200,000 Hex to sacrifice, waiting to see if it pumps to 30 cents again to get 60K. Do you think it may get back up there before the night? Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe 28 cents is possible. That scenario may not pay out, but it's definitely possible. We've got the time for it to play out, so we'll see what's that Hex dude. RuneSky says, I'm seeing a lot of confusion around PulseX LP rewards. The LP rewards won't be paid out to PulseX. That's correct. The LP incentive token, which is not named yet, won't be paid out to PulseX unless it's possible to nominate PulseX staking and get them rewarded with, and that gets voted in and offering them the incentive token. That's entirely possible. So that seems to me, I don't see anything against that. So that might happen. Who knows? So watch the space on that. So LP providers can't dump the price of PulseX. That's right. So if you're locking up your PulseX then in a staking thing, you're getting the incentive reward, then that would take PulseX off the market. So it's an interesting idea. So LP providers can't dump the price of PulseX. Yes, that's true. So yeah, they won't be able to control that either. So that's been mitigated or removed. Add to that the buy and burn. Absolutely add to the buy and burn, which are potentially hundreds of millions. I did a video on that. Potentially 400, 500 million. Could be even higher that with all the Pulsechain and PulseX flourishing. That turnover is just going to go bam, 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 bam. Biggest airdrop in history. AMM bot harvesting. Values created instantly out of nothing. And of course, then people start trading it in the real world, and away you go. You just ignite the engine, and it's away. And you're talking about billions of dollars being in the valuations. Pretty amazing. Let's all look here. Matthew says, is a high PulseX sacrifice a good thing, or does it dilute our percentage of supply and limit returns? Well, it does to a point. It's got to get in that Goldilocks zone, I think. And I think that the Pulsechain sacrifice was pretty good. I think the PulseX will probably be similar to it, maybe slightly higher at this stage, maybe slightly below, or just similar. So I'm not too worried about the amount at the moment. The Origin account will likely come in and do an 85% volume there to keep the control, that centralized control, and acts as a financial operator. So I expect that to happen again too. RuneSky says, I think it'll be fine there, Matthew. RuneSky says, no crap. God whale sacrificed almost double his Pulsechain bag and PLX sacrifice. Yeah, so you follow the big whale money, right? And RuneSky's right. So he didn't sacrifice either. He didn't sacrifice his Hex either. So I think he was holding 188 million just in that wallet. And of course, he sacrificed Ethereum. One could read into that the value of Hex as well. I think he values Hex pretty big. And of course, that is a pretty good play with a lot of stuff that's coming in. And of course, going into PulseX, he knows how big yield farming is, especially it's going to be probably the biggest ever. I'm not saying probably it will be the biggest ever. I mean, it's just so massive, the scale is ginormous. And Brett Stone says, will we be able to stake the PulseX and collect interest in such a way? Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Brett Stone. So that's going to be able to be voted on in the DAO, I imagine. That will remove PulseX off the supply in addition to the buy and burn. We'll watch out for that, of course. We haven't heard much about that that I'm aware of. Merky says, no, market cap is meaningless. Price is what matters. Yeah, price is what matters. And it's Richard's always about circulating supply. And that's why he's got the deflationary coins. That's why he's got the economic engine basically doing buybacks. I mean, it's like a dream come true, right? A lot of projects out in crypto don't have that, right? So the token dies. As soon as people stop buying it and the growth doesn't grow very well, it dies. But in this one, you've got all these incentives to keep churning over in the swapping pool that this keeps burning it, and it's deflationary from the start. You've got the total amount and decreases over time. You can imagine the circulating supply controlled by the Origin account just being, just fixed. It's almost like it's staked, so you wouldn't worry too much about that either, is the way I imagine that's all going to play out. So cool. Crypto Method says, thanks for all that you do. Keep it up. Howdy from Texas. Hey, big shout out to Texas. Cool. Hey, nice to hear that. Of course, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. Hey, we hit 2,300 subscribers today, so a big shout out to all of you. I do appreciate you subscribing, and I hope that comes across in my content as well. The Hex Pulse dude says, thanks, mate. We'll aim to sack at 28 cents. Maybe still hit the 50K bummer, though. Was hoping for a pump back to 50 cents again. Yeah, get that. Yeah. I think at this stage, 28 cents seems a reasonable chance. What's the probability? I think we've got a reasonable chance of that. But don't forget, we've still got a lot of volume out in the market. We've still obviously just come down from a decrease, but we're going to check all that through the live stream. Going to jump through some of these questions here. Just go quickly through. Brett Stones, will all tokens be in circulation from the launch? Yes, Pulse. They will be, but I'm not sure about the swapping part that the pools will all be set up at this stage. They're all going to be set up in PulseX, but some of the extra pools, I'm not sure about that, like PulseX Pulse. That would have to be set up manually. Hey, Hex Token, mate, what is your first name? Superman is the first name. That's my moniker online, the Hex Pulse. And Rob says, yes, a great live stream, says Kim. Hey, Kim, welcome. I appreciate that. And Roscoe, 2022 is going to be a wild ride. I think it's going to be amazing. 2022, I've talked about it in all my videos. I think it's going to be unbelievable for this ecosystem in particular. For Pulsechain, PulseX, and Hex, I think it's going to be amazing. 5 tokens, remember, with those 3 there as well. The Hex Pulse Dude says, what are your thoughts on liquid loans? Hey, I'm still investigating liquid loans. I still think there's a lot of potential there. Obviously, I think the idea is fantastic. And as long as the audit comes back really strong and no backdoor keys and to stop any rug pulling, then I think it would be pretty reasonable. I think the allocation to the team's another issue you have to look at, how much they've got, because you don't want them to dump on your heads. They all seem legit. They all seem very good. And of course, that's positive, right? That's very positive. They had plenty of interviews. But once again, you want to know that how many tokens do they have? And of course, I haven't looked at all that details, so I'm just letting you know. I do know that apparently they're going to have a sacrifice phase as well. So that's tokens going to them. So we trust Richard Hart, but do you trust these guys? That's the question you got to ask yourself as well. 1 to 10,000 points. I personally probably won't be going into it, and so that's probably my position. But everyone's welcome to do what they want, but there are extra risks. I pretty much stay with Richard Hart and Richard Hart Maxi. That's where I'm staying. I think that's the way. You're going to make tons of X's with Richard Hart, so so take that into account. I understand some of the financial benefits from the liquid loans, so I can see why it's attractive in that case. The Hex Pulse Dude said, have you seen the hoarded strategy from the Magic Carpet Ride? What are your thoughts around? Sounds amazing. No, I haven't seen what you're talking about there. I know the Magic Carpet Ride, but I'm not sure of that what you're talking about, the strategy. I might check that out later. And Kim says they need liquid loans for PulseX as well. Yeah, I'm sure they're pretty looking at that. Then Jace Zaretta says, what do you think about Antonio Brown walking off the field? I don't know. Aussies, I don't watch much sport these days. Aussies and Kiwis like the Hex. Yeah, they do absolutely like the Hex. Not a fan of debt, says Zoom Truth. Yeah. Well, the idea is you're keeping your asset, you're just leveraging against the asset, but you wouldn't want to do too high a leverage, otherwise you could lose your bag when the price goes down against you. That's the problem with that's the downside of liquid loans. The positive, of course, is you can magnify your assets if you play it right. G says, what do you think of OG boards? I don't know, G Setter. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Well, you're completely off topic. Let me. All right, so I'm just putting you off. Just set it off timeout because you're asking a lot of things. You're going to get banned next time if you're going to keep going off topic there. All right, so cool. And there we are. So let's get into some of the content, folks. I hope you guys are having a good time. We're going to get into some of the stuff, and here we go. Let's do a refresh on the Pulse Sacrifice. And here we go. So 277.6 million on the ETH chain, plus add just approximately 13 billion on the other chains. So we're definitely over 290 million already, heading towards 300 million. Pretty awesome. Let's jump over to the sacrifice. Now, if you are not familiar with the PulseX sacrifice, basically you sacrifice and expect nothing, but you're sacrificing for freedom of movement association. Obviously, that's under attack in the West countries, and of course you need to follow this thing. There's 3 steps, pretty easy. Step 1, and then of course step 2 and step 3, and of course that helps you to safely sacrifice to the PulseX yield farming. So pretty big. And I kind of think of it like a capital raise, right? So like capital raise gives you a sense of valuation for the project. And of course, what really matters though is ultimately when it launches, and of course we're expecting that possibly as early as early March, mid-March, somewhere like in that period. So that's how you do it. Let us just go through the steps. So the steps is step 1, and then you basically select, either sacrifice to the Ethereum address, or you can put your address in and find out a address for a different blockchain. So you go to step 2 after you've done that, and you've got all these different chains that you can select from. Bitcoin, of course, Bitcoin Cash. These are alternative ones that you can select. And of course, you will get a specific address. Once, let's say you select Bitcoin, you did jump to step 3, and of course, you can then create your own Bitcoin address to sacrifice to, and you can send them there as well. So only a few coins allow you to send it from exchange. Most coins not from exchange. You have to send it from your own wallet, the one you control the seed phrase of. Once again, just follow the instructions very carefully, and you'll be fine with your sacrifice. And of course, once you do that, of course, you can jump over to Pulse Leads, and you can put your address in the search bar here, and you'll be able to see that your sacrifice has been made. Other than that, you can check the transaction on the blockchain that you sacrifice to. All right, so those are the 2 ways of checking it. If you put your address in here, you'll be able to see it pretty quickly though, your points and an estimate of your points that you'll be earning from there. But remember, this is a third-party app, so just take that into account. So let's do a refresh on this, and we're going to match this up. This balance will match up with the other one. So 277.9 million on the ETH chain so far. This includes pretty much a pretty great result, really. So let's have a look at the totals. We've got almost 170 million hex, and of course that's 576 million hex has been sacrificed. That's outstanding. That's so good. So remember, I talked about since the beginning of November, we've had about 3.7 billion added to the circulating supply, and that was expected because we had all these stakes coming out. And of course, now we've sacrificed almost 600,000. So that 5.7 is becoming, 3.7 is becoming about 3.1. So these are approximate numbers, but they give you a good ballpark of what's happening. And of course, that's why I said in my video the last couple of days, I said, man, I'd love to see 1.1 billion, even 2 billion sacrificed, because that would really kick some circulating supply down. We know that we've got tech scale and billionaires being talked to, and 2022 looks fantastic from the demand side, particularly retail virality. We've got Pulsechain, which is going to help with retail virality, and especially around adoption for Pulsechain, PulseX, and PulseX. But you've got all that, so we're expecting all that demand to come into 2022. But to get the circulating supply down as small as possible is really key, and that's the genius about Richard Hart. Not only does he create really cool deflationary tokenomics, but he also looks to get the circulating supply down within that. So this is what we've got. We first had the Pulsechain sacrifice. We actually just go back a little bit further. We went back to the big payday. You saw the Origin accounts pretty much stake all the way up to about 98%, stopped a lot of trader dumpers. And then, of course, when the price did go down, a lot of Hex OGs went in and bought heaps of that up, nice and cheap, about a third of a penny, if I remember rightly. And onwards and upwards, the story is fantastic after that. And then, of course, we in 15th to the 8th, 15th July to 18th of August, we had the Pulsechain sacrifice. That ate up a whole ton of Hex again. And then, of course, now here we are when all the stakes were coming out. This was the real next big phase. All the stakes were coming out over this period of time, and we have PulseX perfectly positioned to eat up a lot of Hex. And of course, Hex is a win-win. It's a win-win for you sacrificing. Potentially the price is higher. Obviously, the price has come down, so we are getting a certain amount of people who have got Hex who are trying to wait for the price to go up. But on the other hand, it also gets Hex off the market, and that circulating supply gets squeezed out. And there we get our big price. Our price can move so much easier up and away in 2022, especially now, especially when we're estimating that we've got all these big buyer demand coming in over that period of time. So very, very cool. Obviously, at the moment, we've got that stuff that's coming out. So the price, I just kind of ignore the price at the moment, trying to get an estimate of it. But, you know, we're going to have those fluctuations, and then we'll get that momentum back in the house once the buyers start becoming greater than sellers. And some of the sellers will also stop selling. They'll go, hey, Pulsechain is amazing. Hex is going to be amazing. I'm going to get my copy on Pulsechain. I'm going to get into PulseX. So you're going to see some of that selling potential also dry up, and it's going to be pretty fascinating to see that. Some of them, people are still getting used to the share rate as well. Don't realize share rate is going to take a lot of people off guard in terms of Hex, because it's going to go up. It's about to hit 20,000. We're only 24. I think 24.9 Hex away from 20,000 on the share rate, and of course that's only going up and to the right. And it's going to go up and to the right. It's going to go faster and faster too, and so we're going to watch that as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that. I'm expecting a lot of penalties to come out from people that are going to 50% unstake, probably in about probably in about 2.5 years. I think we're going to see a lot of that early stuff coming out. And of course, if you're staked past that and you're holding T shares, you're going to be laughing yourself silly with the amount of penalties that you're going to get from that. So it's going to be pretty fascinating to watch that too. All right, so let's get into it. So we're doing pretty well, 156 million Hex sacrifice. Let's get that up. I'd love to get that up over $1 billion or more. And of course, that would be fantastic for long-term price. Of course, Pulsechain, a P-Hex or Hex on Pulsechain is going to be coming up too. So it's going to be fun. The Ethereum, of course, looking really good, 70 million, almost $71 million. And USDC, 23.5, USDC, 7.3, and wrap Bitcoin is number 5 there. I don't know why that's not flicked back there. 2 million, yeah, looking good. All right, so let's go down and we'll get rid of, hide that for a second. And I might actually do one more update because I'm pretty sure we're going a bit higher since then, since I've been talking about it. Let's have a look at we're almost at 278 million on this, plus 13 million on the other coins. We're looking super duper good. And of course, here is the big news we had yesterday. The Hex Godwell is number 1 and jumped there as well, past this other awesome one, 15.7 minimum. It's fantastic, but that's got jumped by the Hex Godwell. And of course, Hex Godwell was number 2 last time. And Pulsechain, the Hex Godwell put in about 19 million, and now it's up at another 10 higher. So that gives you some confidence that the Hex Godwell likes PulseX and understands the way those have been performing as well. So I think that's pretty bullish. Follow the whales, folks. Follow the whales. That's what I say. So in Pulsechain, we had 5 over 10 million. We got 2 over 10 million so far. We've got a long way to go. There's a 58-day sacrifice approximately. So we've got a long way to go, and we're in day 5. So 53 days to go. So nice. Let's get into how many millionaires we've got. Let's scroll down. I think yesterday we had 22 millionaires. Let's see if we've increased that number today. We're up to 29, so we've increased 7 more millionaires today. It's 22 to 29, so we've increased a pretty good 7 millionaires today. Pretty nice. We've got a couple not too far behind there. Let's have a look at the top 100. To get in the top 100 on the ETH chain, this is the ETH chain, remember, is $297,000. So if you want to get top 100 on ETH chain, that's what you need to sacrifice. Let's look at the top 500 and go for gold on that. Let's have a look here. Wait for that to happen, and we're going to go to the bottom here. You have to have $60,777 to get in the top 500, folks. So 60,000, that's the benchmark. This is US dollars. Let's check out the top 1,000, and we're going to check that out. Top 1,000. Let's go. Hey, we've got quite a few topics today, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy the content. So quite varied, and so it's going to be fun too. Let's have a look here. We've got so the top 1,000 on each chain. $31,155. So you can see the economic energy starting to come into the system, man. It's crazy good. And wow, that's awesome. You got to remember, all the people that are coming in are going to be the initial market makers of this whole system. So that's the way it works, right? So the sacrifice, you don't know where that stuff goes, and that's just the way it is. You have no expectation of the work from others. And then, of course, you can kind of keep it like a quasi capital raise, but you have no expectations. And of course, here we are, all these people coming into economic energy. They're the ones that are going to form the foundation of this ecosystem. It really, really is crazy good. And of course, the system itself, through AMM bot's going to just create all the liquidity and just create it out of nothing. And it's really, that's the brilliance of crypto. Only place you can find that. So nice. Let's get in the top 5,000 accounts, see what it takes to get in the top 5,000 on ETH. And let's go for that. Wait for that to update. And here we go. So you have to get just over $5,040. You have to be sacrificed to get in the top 5,000 on each chain at the moment. And at the moment, we've got 25,207. I think that's up about 2,000, maybe 2,500 since yesterday. So we're up just over 25,000 wallets now on the ETH sacrifice. Doesn't include Bitcoin or the other non-MVOs or whatever. So nice. Cool. So that, folks, is a wrap-up of that. Not a wrap-up, it's just an update. Let's have a look at the statistics on there, and you can see that Hex is number 1 by a long shot, 61%. ETH is number 2 at 25.5%. USDC is number 3 at 8.4%, and USDC at 2.63%. Those are the big 4. Obviously, 2 of them are stable coins. ETH moves up and down with the US dollar, and Hex does as well. So very, very cool. That's how we're going on that. Nice. Now, of course, this is the real-time stuff. This is what's happening at the moment. This is the real-time sacrifice. and of course that's looking super duper good. Let's have a look at day 4 results. That's where we're going to go, and of course that's exclusive to this channel at the moment. Here we are, day 4 result. We had a snapshot at 270 million US dollars for the end of day 4. That's approximately 24 hours after them. I take these at about 11 o'clock my time, and of course that's approximately when it started from Richard Hart. So nice. So that's day 4. We got day 1 there. Day 1 was 111. Day 2 was 183. Day 4 was 211, and a day 4 so far 270. Very, very nice on that. So let's go to the spreadsheet, and of course we've got those numbers put in here into the PulseX Sacrifice. We've got the Pulsechain Sacrifice for comparison on the right here. We've got the actual change in amounts in these columns for PulseX, and then for Pulsechain down here, and then we've got a comparison between the two there as well. So looking not too bad. We're certainly performing pretty well at the moment. Like day 2, we outdid Pulsechain. Day 1, 3, and 4 we've been below Pulsechain, but today was day 4 was pretty close. And of course, you got to remember that Pulsechain had the first 5 days was 10,000 points per $1, whereas the first 11 days for PulseX is going to have 10,000 points per $1. So it's quite different from that point of view, and that also gives us a chance for a hex price rebound as well, which we really probably didn't have unless something amazing happened back at Pulsechain, which it didn't. Of course, it went down rather than up. So that's the case. Let's have a look at the charts. And of course, here we are. You can see them tracking together pretty well. I think day 5, we will not hit day 5 on Pulsechain, but we're tracking pretty well with Pulsechain at the moment. PulseX tracking pretty well in the pink there versus the purple. And day 5, we will not hit that. Of course, that was got everyone sacrificed on day 5, and of course that on Pulsechain it was massive. I don't think we'll see that because, as I say, we've got 11-day period rather than a 5-day period. So don't expect that. We should see a gap here tomorrow, and but we are going pretty well so far at the moment. So how many days? We're probably in about 6 hours into the current day at the moment. So we've still got another 3/4 of the day to go to see that. So if we're at 270, and let's have a look. We're at 270. So yeah, no, we're up. About probably 8. And this is just on the ETH chain. Remember, we're just comparing ETH chain because that's the most reasonable, accurate data. And of course, so 228. We're up. We could end up with maybe 40 mil is what I'm thinking for day 5. That's kind of where I'm estimating that at the moment. So that's cool. That's the track. If we look at the change, though, this is the totals. If we look at the change, you can see that the chains, we definitely bet out on day 2, but we were below Pulsechain on day 1, 3, and 4, approximately. This is approximately. So cool. And day 5, of course, Pulsechain was the big one. And then I think we'll probably beat out a lot of Pulsechain on the rest of the days, day through 9 there, with the 10,000 points to 1. So we'll look forward to that. We're 27, 21. We've got to beat 7 now. I think we'll beat that. Good chance of that in any case. Given the momentum I think we've got at the moment, I think it's pretty good. So that there is the data there, folks. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me just scroll back up. I think I'm miles behind the comments here. I'm not even sure where I got up to be honest. Did I pass it there? Oh yeah, I got up to Jacida, and I don't know why I left it on there. So I apologize for leaving it on that comment. Anyway, so Zoom True says leverage debt even scarier. Yeah, that's true. But once again, it's against your asset. Yeah, but if the price goes against you, that's for sure. Ramon says nice. They won't do a loan platform for PulseX. They said DEX tokens are too volatile. That'd be true, Ramon. That's what the point I was making too. It'll be less problematic over time. Raymond says the strategy 1 uses the liquid loans as an over collateralized, nothing is leveraged. Yes, collateralized. Well, you are leveraging your asset. So yeah, I'm not talking about like margin leverage. I'm talking about you're locking your assets and you are leveraging. That's what typically in lending. Mike says thanks for the live stream today. Don't you keep the inspiration of the RH Dynasty going? Hey Mike, I appreciate that. And there's many other promoters out there too. So big shout out to everyone in the YouTube, Pulsechain and PulseX YouTube promoters out there, and also on all the other platforms. So big thanks, Mike, though. And Nisian says, do you know what happens to tokens that were sacrificed that weren't on the list? Well, I understand they're probably going to be honoured, is the way I've heard Richard talk about that before. Once again, you'd have to see when the actual distribution file comes in. I think we've already had the test one in, so you could probably see that already. But I believe he was probably going to honour a lot of that stuff, unless it's really silly stuff, is the way I'm thinking. But good question. Zoom Truth says, I heard you, Ramon, but if PLX just went up 50x, there's a great possibility it could reverse a significant amount of that gain. Zoom Truth says, Ramon, the explosion of growth. Let me just jump some of these. Possible SAC. I'm just trying to keep up with these comments here. For PulseX holders who don't have any PulseX, will we be able to swap on mainnet prior to Bride? Bridge, yeah, you should be able to do that, crypto meathead. We believe someone will set up a pool with PLS and PLX. Now it says, how come a lot of people on PulseX chat talk about selling their PulseX for Pulsechain, even though the fundamentals are better for PulseX? Don't understand. Hey, everyone will make their choices. Everyone will make their choices, and as I said, you might find a lot of the big billionaire investors will go for Pulsechain, but I think in the short term, the PulseX price will probably likely outperform. I'm in that camp, but I could be wrong. But I'm basing it on the fact of the economic buying engine inside PulseX and the fact it'll be the biggest yield farming in crypto history. I think that's going to be pretty big. I think Pulsechain definitely in the medium long term will outperform. That's the way I look at that. So pretty cool. Hans says, I wouldn't get any crazy expectations. You'll just end up disappointed. Price will probably dip after launch. Yeah, I expect it to dip too. And of course, that's when your buying opportunities come in, right? That's why I always say have some fresh powder offline ready for any dips, because that's what you want to get. Because if you get those dips long term, you're going to be laughing yourself silly with the dips. So don't forget, it's not just about the sacrifice. The dips are definitely in the game. So I definitely in that camp. We've seen that plenty of times for sure. Like after big payday in Hex, after the launch of Hex, the 5th of January 2020, the lowest price in Hex. So it was definitely an opportunity after, Hex launched on the 2nd of December 2019. So it was definitely an opportunity after a month there for a cheaper price. So just take into account, we know that crypto markets and markets generally have ebbs and flows, momentum, and in both directions. So definitely an opportunity there. Tim Top says, what's up, Hexagons? Good to see you. And Young Kim says, you thinking sitting on top 10% in either PLS or X can make a millionaire? Hey, look, I think in Hex, if you'd just done like $100, it would have made you a millionaire, Young Kim. So who knows? We can't say too much, of course, about that, but we particularly think that there's big X's in play, is the way I would put it. Zoom Trust, yeah. Okay, there's a couple of conversations going on there between yourself. Crypto Me says, for those who are Pulse Hex holders but did not sacrifice a Pulse, will we be able to swap? Yes, I think I answered that one. Have I got too far down here? I've got it's almost repeating. I plan on using it. Oh, okay. Let me jump around here. Sorry, people talking to themselves. Sorry about that. Got a little confused for those. Man, so it looks like some of these questions are looping around. So people are replacing them again, which means sustain at 95%. And imagine some of the greedy people, yikes, greedier. And of course, Ramon says, is there a limit to a loan to capital ratio? I don't know. Craig Wanning says, hey, Craig, good to see Craig Wanning in the house, one of our moderators, and awesome member of the community. And smash that like button, says Craig, absolutely. And Ramon's in the house. Let me just find it. Ramon says, replying to TruthCat. Cool, thanks Ramon. And Rags to Riches in the house. Hey, thanks for the super sticker. Appreciate that super chat. Great info data. Thanks. Hey, Rag to Riches, big shout out. And don't forget to go subscribe to Rag to Riches. I know that he's a pretty a big popular channel in the community. So go, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to Rag to Riches. Appreciate the super chat for sure. And Ramon Corella says, I've been watching a ton of interviews of founders' explanations. Let's throw. How do I throw a tip? You just hit the. I think you just hit the dollar sign at the bottom there to show your support on the channel if you want to do a super chat. Matt says, hello from Bali, just joined the stream. Hey, nice one, Bali. Oh, God, that's going to be great. Good stuff, Matt. Appreciate your work, says Matt. Nice. And Tyler says, thanks for answering my question on YouTube earlier today. One more. Hey, Tyler, just see you. Let's address the elephant in the room. Where do the sacrifice cryptos goes? Like, where? Well, you're supposed to have no expectations of others. That's all I'll leave it there. I mean, you can work it out yourself. And what the function does it play? You can work that out too. So I'll leave that one with you there, Tyler. Matt says, just trying to confirm from MetaMask using Polygon, can I send USDC or Matic? You can. And do I need to wrap or convert anything? No. So you can just switch over your MetaMask to Polygon, and you can send Matic on that, or you can just send Matic on Ethereum. So you can just do either that and USD2 as well. Cool. Terraform says, damn, Rag to Riches. Yeah, nice one. And big shout out. And Matt says, from Bali. I'm a Kiwi though. Yeah, another Kiwi in Bali. Nice one. Of course, Bali's a place a lot of people love to go, beaches and good nightlife as well. So enjoy yourself there, and good living, right? Not the pretty affordable living as well, as I understand it. So nice one there, Matt. Kiwi in Bali, nice. All right, so I'm a Kiwi in New Zealand, folks. My moniker online is Superman. Hope you can welcome to Hex Token channel. And of course, subscribe, like, share, hit the bell. And yes, one of the many Hex OGs around the place, and love talking about the ecosystem that Richard Hart is building. It's going to be the best and greatest in crypto. And of course, it's going to shock and awe the rest of crypto, no doubt. Just as the Hex price chart shocked people in 2020 through most of 2021, and I believe in 2022 is going to be right back there as well. The market price does move in ebbs and flows. Remember, you must have a reasonable time frame as well to watch a lot of that play out. And as long as you're keeping a track of the fundamentals, you'll be able to really keep abreast of that. Obviously, I try to talk about all those on this channel. So hopefully, if you aren't able to follow it all, you glean quite a few insights on this channel, which is really the main intention. So I hope you guys enjoy that for sure. All right, so here we are. That's how we're tracking. Let's jump over the Hex price. We're going to jump back to Sacrifice, but let's jump over the Hex price and see where that's at the moment. And bam, hey, we've got a green candle. Green candle, represent. Okay, that's worthy of a drink of water because it's so hot here right now. It might be hot in Bali, but it's definitely hot here. It's probably not as hot as Bali, but it's definitely hot back down here in New Zealand. So nice. Hey, we've got a green candle. Hey, we had 3 big giant red candles, and of course we've got a nice green candle at the moment. And yeah, let's just see where this goes. Still got my wiggly green line there, going up to 28 cents. Let's see. I think we've definitely got the time frame. We need time. We've got the time. So let's see if we can slowly step ourselves back up here. And to all those big Hex OGs out there, hold your bags. Let's get this price back up. And of course, if you're going to sacrifice some, go for gold. PulseX looks awesome, and yeah, that's looking good. So we're going to watch this very much every day on this live stream, and of course through the daily update video. If you haven't checked that out, do daily update video on Hex and the ecosystem. So cool. Let's watch this go. And of course, I had my terrible Ziggly green line yesterday. I managed to delete it straight away after the live stream. I just touched it and deleted it. So it was kind of weird. It didn't delete at the time, but here we are. So let's see if we can get this scenario playing out. And of course, back up to 28 cents, and that's rocket territory back over there. So we'll look forward to that. Nice. So yeah, we're getting pretty good. Let's jump over to the hourly on this, and you can see, it's moving up there. So not too bad. All right. So I'm going to go back to the daily actually, because I want to do some comments here. On that. So these 2 yellow lines are how many days we've got before the 10,000 points to $1 sacrifice disappears. So it's on the 9th. So it's just the day before this yellow line here, which is the 10th. So that's why we've got our time, and it is a lot longer than the Pulsechain sacrifice. So we do have a scenario where we could get a nice move up there. So we'll watch that and see whether that happens. Let's go back into some of the results at the moment. We've got the CCI index. Let's have a look at that. That's definitely on the negative there. So we lost our nice booming. Obviously, the price chart pulled that down over 3 days. So it's going to need a bit of retirement there. And we also got our price signal going below the signal, price buying going below the signal line, and the volume as well. And so we need really this to reverse back up. So we'll be watching that. That's on the MACD, the moving average. And we're going to check the RSI, which is another popular TA number. And of course, we went below 50. But is nudging up a bit at the moment with our green candle. So can we get a reprieve without it going too far down? What happens in RSI? You want it really, if it's right down the bottom, it gives you plenty of room for the price to move up and not get overheated and then stay up there for a while, which is what we've seen. So it may very well, hopefully it will stop around here, not necessarily go back for a complete retrace. That's kind of where I feel that we are at the moment, unless some Hex OGs decides to sell down with those stakes. So nice. We're going to jump over to the DMI. I'm going to jump through the oscillators as once. And of course, we've got the buyers line here coming up, taking over, of course, with all the sells. The buyers are moving down. And of course, they haven't actually crossed each other yet. So we haven't had to see this cross here. But it's at the moment, will they meet or not? We'll find out in the next day, I should say. And of course, we want to get over this red signal line with the buyers line and separate out just like we did over here where we got above in this area. So definitely looking for that, and we need a bit more data to see what's going to happen. That's pretty much it. So feeling optimistic about that though, and we're up at 22.3 cents, 22.3 cents on the US dollar. This is V3, and of course V3 has dominated. Suddenly the pool started dominating the V2 and Ethereum. We're up at something like 88, over 88% in US dollars today, which is a big jump, relatively speaking, with the rest of the pools. So nice on that. All right, so Matt says not too bad at the moment. It's rainy season, so a little cool on cloudy days. I see, yeah, I forgot the rainy season there in Bali. If you head this way one day, give us a shout. And for all the Hexicans and Pulse people, welcome as well. So it's a nice big welcome there to Bali from Matt. Nice one, Matt. And you are 2D, 2DA. What is the final day for PulseX Sacrifice phase? February 25th. That's correct. Does that mean Pulsechain cannot fork until afterwards? That's correct. What about the LP? Well, he could. No, well, it won't actually fork, but he could take a block. He can take any block he wants to do the launch on. What about the LP no name token? Does it need to finish a sacrifice? Also, no, there's no sacrifice for the incentive token. The incentive token is just for people that provide liquidity on PulseX swap, basically PulseX. So there we are. We've got a little bot in here. It's going to have to get rid of that little bot. Let me just hide that. So nice. All right, cool. All right, so there we are. Cool. That's where we're up to. So let's jump over here. So Hex is looking a bit better. We've got a green candle, and let's see what happens here. It seems to have finished selling down for the moment. Like I say, only if some big account decides to want to sell this up for lower value. Only if one of those. Remember, most of those guys are in the money quite big. So just have to take that into account there. All right, so let's jump over to the Pulsechain, PulseX timeline, and of course we are on day 2020. Day 22, not 20. We're on day 22 of Pulsechain Testnet 2.0. Day 22 of Pulsechain Testnet 2.0. Boy, that's a bit of a tongue twister. You try and say that at home for sure. All right, so there we are. We've been starting off on the 12th of December. We're moving along pretty nicely, 22 days. The main point of that is to test the validators, of course. They're also the Uniswap front end is on there, and yeah, no doubt they've tested Go.hex for the Pulse. If they've had, I'm pretty sure they've got a different team for that, I understand, for each of these. So if that's the case, they should have tested Pulse Go.hex, which is where you do staking on the ETH chain for Hex, and they should have done that. So for Pulsechain. So what we're waiting for really, Pulsechain Testnet 3.0. When does it start? At the moment, I got mid-January, but that's a question mark. We don't know when Pulsechain Testnet 2.0 will start. That's vitally important that the validator code is checked out, and it seems to be going pretty well at the moment. So cool. The other side of it is, of course, the Pulsechain Testnet 3 will come up, and of course, most likely they'll test the PulseSwap. Let me just jump back there. The PulseX software on that, as well as where am I going there? As well as the AMM bot run. So I've got to test that as well, and that's vitally important. So I think we can all agree with that. And also, of course, we're waiting for the balances to be updated as well, and that likely happen on Pulsechain Testnet 3.02. And how long that goes for, we just don't know. Of course, I've got that going out until the end of the sacrifice phase for PulseX. That's the dotted line, but at the moment I've got it running for like 2 weeks, I think, as for Pulsechain, but that could be longer. And once again, we could run all the way up to maybe a week before Pulsechain launch, something like that. This is give or take. And of course, these are question marks here too. Obviously, PulseX is also running, not just Pulsechain Testnet 2.0, but PulseX Sacrifice is running, and of course, we've got to run all the way up to the 25th of February, and then we should get some sort of snapshot block around this period here as well before the going live, and I would suggest afterwards, after the Pulse chain as well. But any block fork could actually be chosen, but hey. We'll see. Richard was talking about possibly giving us some notice, but he's got to gamify it too, because he doesn't want to be gamed. You got to give some. If you get some notice, you might get gamed. So we'll get a bit more information, hopefully, from Richard in a future live streams on that aspect. So cool, and of course, all the stuff's running along pretty nicely. We've got the two components of the PulseX Sacrifice. We've got the base amount, which is 10,000 points for $1. If you do that up to the 9th, after the 10th, it's going to start increasing by 5%. And of course, that will end up being, by the time we get to the end on day 25, that'd end up being $9.90 for 10,000 points. So really big deal getting in early before the 9th is a very big deal. So you got still got 7 days to go or something. On top of that, of course, the base amount is the volume multiplier bonus, and of course, you'll get a multiplier between 1 and 2.5, depending on how much US dollars you sacrifice versus everybody else, including the biggest whales, which is the Hex God whale at the moment. You'll get ranked along there, just like in Pulsechain. And of course, for Pulsechain testnet, for Pulsechain Sacrifice, if you did about 7,000, that was about approximately about a 1.1 factor. So it gives you an idea of what that might be for the smaller amounts. I mean, 7K is a pretty decent amount, but smaller amounts compared to a lot of others. Of course, that's going to run through the 20th of February, and then the final 5 days is going to be from the 21st to 25th. Will be a 1.75 multiplier flat. But to remember that your base amount is going to be close to $9, $10 for 10,000 points. So your multiplier during that time is going to be like that. So just take the counts. Basically, earlier is much better as well. So there we are, folks, at the end, of course. And of course, the volume multiplier finishes at the 20th there. All right, so that's pretty cool. It's how you do it. Basically, get in early. There's no charity this time like Pulsechain Sacrifice because there wasn't time for that. You're sacrificing for a different cause, of course, freedom of association movement. 0.29% of the transaction fee is going to be with a 21% buy and burn on the Pulse there too. It's also, on the PulseX, and of course that's massive, right? That's a huge engine, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars of buying and burning, really is big. And of course also will control the DAO, which will allocate the 5th token, the yield farming incentive token, which is not yet named. So that's going to control that, and which peers get it. And that may include PulseX itself, setting up a PulseX peer that gets some as well. So it's be interesting to see that play out if it does, of course, if they allow that feature. Also Hexscale, obviously the private side, accredited investors already launched. And of course, that's pretty quiet. They'll take a little bit of time to ramp up in the new year, but that's basically for people with net worth over $1 million, accredited investors, running by Kinetics, and that was go live around about the 3rd of December. The public one, we don't know when it's going to occur, but they have got a shorter way to market for that. And of course, that's huge pumpamentals, getting IRA investments, institutional investors, stuff like that. So it's the sort of next level of that. So two big buying demand. They're going to just buy, and stake 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And of course, that's awesome. This is the sort of stuff we want to come in on demand side, and that's why we want the PulseX Sacrifice to reduce the amount of Hex, reduces the supply side, and of course, we want to build up that demand side. And that's why 2022 potentially looks amazing from the big buyers. Also, Funding Jim liaising with the billionaires, said something like over half a dozen of billionaires, plus many others with significant wealth in the networks that he's talking to, and he's great at doing that. So hats off to Funding Jim for that. And of course, we've got retail virality. It's going to take off with Pulsechain, PulseX, and of course, you can see that all the YouTubers on YouTube and other platforms are really starting to explode in the space, and spreading the word as domination comes into place. World domination, folks, nothing less, as Richard, I would say. So that's what we're going to be looking for. We've also got the Hexpo conference coming up, and of course, that's with Matty Allen on his YouTube channel. So a big shout out to everything that he does. So that's coming up on the 3rd to the 6th of January. So I think that's pretty much must be starting pretty soon. We're going to check that out on the dates actually. And of course, in March, he's got the Hexpo Vegas, which is a physical conference run online one, and that's coming up as well in March. Very cool. We also know that DS, the Discord Syndicate, is going to have a conference for pro investors. That's not necessarily crypto, but the traditional financial market. So that could onboard a lot of traditional finance into Hex as well. And then, of course, we've got the current best estimate for the launch of Pulsechain, and PulseX is now, based on the information we've had, is the earliest is possibly early March. And that's the earliest at this stage. So that is tentative, subject to obviously Richard's official announcements of when it actually does go live. Also, Pulsechain testnet 2.0 software does take time. We just got to take that into account as well. So cool. Oh, that's a rundown. Let's jump over to some of the comps. I'm going to get into the next bit, of course. And let me make sure I've deleted all those weird posts there. Yeah, that's looking good. All right, so we've got Blissful says is talking around and pronounced you are to deter. Thanks. Hey, thanks for that. And Tyler says, can you help me if I buy PHEX now? Would I get Pulsechain? If you buy Hex on Ethereum, you will get a free airdrop of PRC20s on a Pulsechain, if that's what you mean. I get Pulsechain as well. I'm a bit confused. Yeah, so if you buy Hex on Ethereum, you will get a free airdrop on Pulsechain called Hex on Pulsechain, or PHEX as we call it. You'll basically double the number of your coins, but one will be on Pulsechain. And the value may or may not be the same and may separate over time due to the fact that they've got different chains and different people start buying them as well. So just take into account. And when Pulse Wallet, yeah, who knows? Who knows? I just sacrificed 10 G's, says Crypto Passive. Hey, hats off to Crypto Passive. All the best there, Crypto Passive. And what crypto? And eHex is the only Hex available. If you grab eHex now, you'll receive Hex on Pulsechain. That's right. And you could always use some of those extra eHex to swap for PLS if any for sale. That's right. And eHex meaning Hex on Ethereum. eHex means Hex on Ethereum. PHEX means Hex on Pulsechain. Very cool. Hit the like before you go, says Craig. Hey, nice one. Hey, welcome everybody. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, of course. And if you want to become a channel member, join use the join button. And of course, we've got Pulsicans, Hexicans, and the Richard Hart Club. So get in there and help us promote these projects. Today says Ethereum Hex equals eHex. There is no PHEX. PHEX equals Hex. Yeah, well, that's what's going to be in the future. Waiting for a pump, says Hex Force. Yeah, that's right. Many are. Let's get into the poll. There is a poll, folks. Let's get in there. We've got 102 votes. Woo-hoo-hoo! 102 votes, folks. This is going really well. And of course, what is this question? How much have you sacrificed of your planned amount for PulseX so far? 100%, 40%. Yeah, baby, yeah. And nice, all in. And of course, 51 to 99%. Well on my way to moon. 19%, and 26 to 50% waiting for higher prices is 10%, and 0 to 25% 31%. So 1 to 3 people still got a lot to do in terms of sacrifice. Going pretty good though. 2 and 5 people, so it's about 40 people have gone all in already. So nice one. It's great to have a cross selection. So it's a really cool poll, and I'm sure these polls do help other people think about what's happening with everybody else. So nice to see that. All right, cool. And and Craig says, I'm a Plexican. Yeah, that's right. So I like that too. I'm a Plexican. All right, so let's jump over to the Hex conference. So this is, we talked about the Hex conference here. This is this one here. And we're going to jump over to Maddie Allen, a Medium, and of course the hexconference.com. And here is the conference, which is going to be January the 6th to the 9th. So actually, let me just double check that. What have I got that on day? Yeah, 6th to the 9th. I've got the right spot. So not 3rd to the 6th, the 6th to the 9th. Sorry, I apologize for that. 6th to the 9th, 2022, live on YouTube. So everyone from around the world is going to be able to watch this conference, and it's amazing. 4 days, and of course, 6 hours per day, and it's incredible what they've got on. Intro to Hex, the price, the devs. So you've got all the stuff. So first day, intro to Hex, testimonials, Hex talks, power of T-shares. If you want to learn all about T-shares, which I recommend, strongly recommend, you do that on here. And of course, social media, Hexkin stuff. Day 2, price, Hex talks, dissent panel, people who dissent over the projects. If you've got a lot of criticisms, you can watch them talk about it there. And Discord Syndicate, highest of stakes. Of course, this is the big viral documentary. This is going to be huge for Hex as well, and particularly the end of 2022, maybe the early January 2023 is kind of the target at this stage, but you never know, they could be early, but January 2023 is the target this day. Of course, Hex Musicals, and of course they're going to try and get that on the big broadcasters, big streamers. That could have huge virality in there as well. And Hex Musicans, which is pretty nice into the music. Hexkin Social, of course, at the end of the day. Day 3, devs, Hex Talk, Quants on next. Pro sports, so all the sports people, there's a lot of sports people into Hex, NBA, and all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. It actually takes you off your guard, actually. It's quite amazing there. The Sense Foundation, of course, the big sacrifice that was in Pulsechain. They're going to be there, and new YouTubers also. Lots of, obviously, big expansion of YouTubers in the space, which is great to see, and they're going to be there. Hexkin Social again at the end of each day. Day 4, mental health with Manny Allen, who's a psychologist, I understand. So shout out to that. Then Hex Talks, you got the Steph and Matt and Cream and John Wick and all stuff. So John Wick was the one that a good account of the Origin account stakes that came out late November to early December. So it'd be pretty cool to see John Wick around that. Spotlight with Richard Hart, so Richard Hart, the man himself, and so he's going to be in their panel. And then Richard Hart keynote, so that'll be cool as well. And then Richard Hart social, so I love that. What a strong finish on day 4, and of course then Hex social afterwards. So very, very cool. Now, one of the highlights for me is that I'm looking forward to is where is this one here? So there's a full breakdown here, and there is not can't remember sure here, but I was supposed to look for this earlier rather than me finding it now, here. So I'm looking for the Hex OA audit as talk number 4 on day 2, and it's with Gunter, the accountant. So that's going to talk about the origin account. So if you've got questions about that, folks, that's the one you want to look at. So Hex OA audit, Gunter, the accountant, will be an update on that, and looking forward to that big time on talk number 5 on day 2, the 7th of January. So yeah, if I was going to recommend one, definitely catch that one. I think that would be very insightful as well, but there's lots of good stuff for everybody there, so big shout out to their team. Nice, and looking good there, so very cool. That is the website. It's a Hex conference online pretty much, so it's going to be really great, so I look forward to that myself. Now here we're going to get the Staker app. If you haven't got Staker app, over 100,000 Hexicans have Staker app, and of course it's going to have Pulsechain, and no doubt they may even feed in some PulseX stuff on there, and I haven't heard anything about that yet, but definitely Pulsechain's coming. Version 2 of the app's coming. If you haven't got that app, of course, over 100,000 people already have, and it's going to grow fast. It's going to be the app in Richard Hart's ecosystem pretty much. Obviously a third party through Staker, through Steph in it, and if you haven't got it, get the link in the video description, get up to that. You can actually view only your Ethereum wallet or whatever wallet you're going to use on there, and you can see all your stakes and all this good stuff there. And then of course, if you want to set up a smart wallet in there, you can do that as well, and of course there's benefits from doing that. You can stake for 5555 and get in the weekly competition, $8,700 a week for the top 10 winners, from $300 to was it 3,000 or something like that. So yeah, was it 3,000? Let me double check. No, 2,000. 2,000 is top prize each week, and each week they're giving away $8,700. Crazy good. We have to do a stake 5555 and get in the top 10 for doing that through the smart wallet there in Staker app. So the link's in the video description. You want to join up. I use it every day, and I think just about everybody I know does as well. It's pretty addictive in some ways. So cool. All right, so there we are. So the week for this week one, Steph and Hodl Dog was on today. That was the Sunday Staker app show. I strongly recommend watching that too. Get lots of good insights into new products and stuff like that. And of course, this was the results today. So these are the top 10 winners. $8,700 was given to them. And of course, what did they do? They encouraged staking long-term, getting X off the market, deferred gratification well into the future. And of course, they ended up staked, what was it, over half, 528,000 Hex was staked. So over 500,000 Hex was staked this week. Now it varies from week to week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Just depends who's on there at the time. So that's $152,000 was staked, and it was staked for 5,505 days. Sorry. It's 152 years all up or something like that. So yeah, very, very cool. Those were the wallets there, and of course the top value was 40. What's that? About 42,000 or something like that. And the bottom one was 2,400. All of them got prizes. The bottom one there was about $2,500. About 8,500 Hex was staked for 5,505 days, and they ended up winning $300. The top one was 42,000. They staked 222,000 for 5,505 days or 15.2 years, and they got 2,000 as the top prize. So it does change from week to week, but this is week 7, folks, week 7. So very, very cool. Congratulations to the winners. Nice. So it's lots of happening in the space. You can tell, really, really is cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed that for sure. Let me get up to the thing. We've got Tyler M in that. They talk about pairing. So if I'm holding my PulseX, what would I need to pair it with? Also the market maker on Pulsechain. Well, you'll be able to probably pair it with Pulse itself, and of course quite a few other pairs, no doubt, will pop up there in the funds there, Tyler. There'll be a lot of pairs opportunities you can do yield farming with if you want to do that. Go into pools and stuff. True Soul says, I see you everywhere, Craig. Yeah, Craig is a huge community person, is for sure. Saying PHEX is just Hex on Pulsechain, as is Richard Hart's chain token EHEX. Can get the funky name. RH refers this. Anyway, so Craig Wayne says, I stay busy, lol. Yeah, nice one. And Hex token gonna blow up on YouTube. Let's go. Hey, True Blue Soul, I appreciate that. And a big shout out to Matt, the $5 super chat, appreciate it. So big shout out to Matt there, and nice one. All right, so onwards and upwards, folks. That is the week. That's the update. So very cool stuff happening in the ecosystem. Let's jump over to Richard Hart. Now, I want to point this out. Richard Hart on Twitter. Finally, I don't know. We've watched so many videos of Richard Hart, and we always wondered, why has Richard Hart not got 100,000 subscribers? Well, today, folks, Richard Hart has 100,000 subscribers. Huge, huge, huge. And of course, you and I both know that, first of all, he's probably going to get one of those, is it a silver plaque? I can't remember now. YouTube thing. That would be pretty cool. Richard would like that up on his wall. And of course, the other thing is the algorithm. I'm pretty sure that once you get to 100,000, the algorithm just ramps you up. So this channel should start really growing even at a faster rate. And of course, that means more people will get their eyes in on Hex, on Pulsechain, on PulseX, and the rest of what Richard wants to do. So that's really awesome stuff. Great to see that play. And congratulations to Richard for that. I just wanted to put that out. And I did see that Hexologist also tried to get Richard to there as well. So did the work. I don't care what I got to do, but in the next 16 hours, this man will have 100,000 followers. So it did happen. Help the cause. Maybe your brand new baby should be a big fan. Maybe your long lost dad you haven't talked to in years needs to start them up as an account to watch Richard Hart. So very, very cool. And we got a lot of good stuff. Let's go. You're the man. Well deserved. You'll pay. Congrats. You deserve it. So lots of cool stuff from the community there as well. So nice. Well done. And let's stream. Yeah, congratulations, Mr. Hart. Well deserved. Next goal, 1 million. Hey, why not? What a great place to finish. Next goal, 1 million for Richard Hart. And that's massive, right? So very excited to see that. Let's get back to the Pulse and let's update the actual sacrifice amount now. And here we are. Going for good. We're going to be live for another 10 more minutes. You know how I roll, about an hour and 20 minutes. Seems like a good time to live stream. And so we're going to go for another 10 minutes, folks. We're up to 27.8 million, 278 million, 0.2. So looking really good. Now, obviously, we've got about another 13 million on top of that with Bitcoin and other tokens. So that would take us up to 280 plus 3 is to about 290, 291.2, 291, just over 291 is where we're at the moment. So good and good. Heading towards that 300 million US dollars, which I'm sure we'll do today, no problem. So looking good to look forward to that. All right, so Hex 169 million and Ethereum 71 million, sorry, USDC 23.5, Tether 7.3, Wrap Bitcoin 2.1, Diet 2.1, and let me stop moving the mouse around too much. Shiba Inu, good old Shiba Inu, the Shiba that could, and of course that's 722,000. Wise Token is the interesting one here. Wise Token has the biggest liquidity pool on Ethereum, and that's going to get, remember, copied over and then harvested by AMEMbot. So that pool has got a lot of liquidity. It's about, I don't know what it is. It's maybe 90%, 95% is all locked, and it's the biggest one. And of course, that's all going to get harvested and swapped into Pulse. So there'll be Pulse locked into that pool. That's going to take a lot of Pulse off the market. So I'm not sure many people thought about that, but that's the only pool that's big, that's got locked liquidity in it. And that's going to lock in a lot of Pulse in there. It can't really get taken out. That's going to be really interesting, that one there, for sure. So I don't know if anyone's picked that up, but definitely that's an insight that I'm giving you right now. I think that's pretty fascinating as well. So I can't remember what the lock liquidity is over there. I think it's maybe 350, 400 million, something like that in there. And so that's going to be, if it gets harvested, Pulse galore in there, locked away. I don't see that really moving very much. Obviously, they've got a lot of their product launches coming out from this month onwards. They've got liquid loans and they've got lending on basically, I guess, DeFi 3.0 lending coming out. So that's going to be bigger than Aave probably. So we'll watch that. It's going to be an interesting part of this launch. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about it, but that's what's going on in there. It's going to be interesting. So Chainlink there, number 336,000. Crow or Crypto.com at 320,000, and Sushi at 195. Uniswap at 145. These are our good friends, of course. When the AMEMbot start harvesting that, that's going to be our good friends there. So nice. And we keep going down the list, of course. BAT, we've got some popular ones in there. Celsius, Curve DAO, Makeus, Synthetic, Compound, Amperforth, and X Infinity, Bancor. So lots in there as well. Now there's six days and 19 hours to go until the base rate of 10,000 points per dollar starts going up by 5%. So that's how much time we've all got out there, folks, to do the sacrifice. Here is, of course, the curve. You got to get in early is better, and of course you're going to be paying 5% more, all the way up to $9.90 by the time you get to the last day there on the 25th of February. The volume multiplier, of course, goes up to the 20th, and after that it's going to be 1.75. So take that into account. You want to get that volume multiplier will definitely help as well. Cheaper is better. So earlier is easily better results. I think possibly on Pulsechain, if you'd gotten maybe even after the first 5 days, maybe day 7 or 8, that was kind of okay. But definitely in the first 5 days was the best rate. And then, of course, it just gets worse after day 7 or 8. Relatively speaking, obviously, once the Pulse goes live, you never know what the price is going to be. It could be pretty massive. So pretty cool. I love these bullet points. Of course, PulseX is going to be the Pulsechain exchange, the world's largest yield farm. And of course, the market's going to get taken off guard as well with this. The PulseX second incentive token, of course, waiting for a name for that. Let me just stop scriggling around here. The PulseX incentive token and a PulseX goal is the Uniswap fork with the PLX liquidity provider incentivization. Its goal is to provide Pulsechain users with the best possible trading experience and yield farming with a strong focus on incentivizing ERC20 holders to bridge in and back the value of their PRC20s. And I see incentives galore. I see that happening quite easily when the bridge is connected into Pulsechain, and so it's going to be pretty cool. So we're expecting the AMM bot to harvest the tokens with the airdrop, open it up to the public, which is going to be you and I, and then of course get that bridge in, and it's also get in the fiat gateway as well. You can have those two external things coming into the system, flooding it as well with economic energy, and you're going to look at the biggest. It's going to be amazing to see the pump mentals in the billions. Sure, it's going to be amazing. So PLS, pretty much the best asset class in history, and of course it's cryptocurrency, high yields with the PLS or PRC20s. And of course, you're going to get half of that those pools for free, maybe the whole lot, depending on what token you've got, or cheap through the sacrifice. You'll be able to pair those up and really earn some pretty terrific returns from that too. Most transparent trading in the world, of course, on chain. And it's going to be super efficient, of course, super fast blocks and super cheap. And of course, PLX will only become more rare because the token is deflationary from the start compared to other ones out there. So that's going to be super, super awesome. And of course, 21% of all fees could become used to buy up and price and burn it freshly to PLX. That's going to be outstanding. So nice. And I'd like to finish. PLX is awesome. Trading fees dirt cheap, of course. PLX will have the most liquidity on Pulsechain, and that's the other thing that people forget, that this is going to be such a big scale with so much liquidity with the AMM bot running, that it's going to take a lot of people off guard. Every single yield farmer out there from all those other chains is going to want to come in. Phantom, Atrium, all of the rest of them, they're all going to come on here. It's good to have liquidity in a single place, and it's going to make it very difficult for others to compete, really. But PulseX has lower fees, the most liquid on the Pulsechain, and only becomes more rare, and that's pretty cool. So I love this website. Very, very cool bullet points. You can read them all. All the links that I've shown during the live stream are in the video description, so you can follow those as well. Always remember to check any links, even on YouTube channels, that they are the official ones. But once again, we have provided those for you. You can go double check them yourself there. There's PulseX info if you want to sacrifice, and just to follow these 3 steps. And of course, Pulse leads looking super duper good here. Let's do a refresh on the leaderboard and let's see how we're going. Man, we have increased the number of millionaires by 7 today. What are we going to do tomorrow? That's the question. At the end of day 5, how many more millionaires will we have in there as well? Nice. Okay, so 278.2 million. And looking pretty good. Let's have a look at the Hex amount. 577 million Hex sacrificed now, and that puts us down really well on circulating supply. I'd love to see over 1 billion, and if we got over 1.5 billion, that'd be even better. Really look, that's the number I'm looking for myself personally, because I think the significance is really big on that as well. Nice there. So right, so let's jump over the price at the moment. 22.16 cents for Hex at the moment. So let's see whether the scenario plays out. We get a rebound. We have got the time for it, and the price for the higher sacrifice. We'll see whether we get there as well. So looking forward to that. Nice. All right. So let's get into the chat. Let's go. We've got Craig Weddings in the house. Super stick there. Here is some spending money to get that milk for your tea. And hey, I was going to have coffee actually, Craig. I was going to have coffee. This is all you get this week to make it last. Hey, nice one, Craig. Appreciate that. Big shout out to Craig. And what a big heart you have got there, Craig. Brownie says, damn, late, but here. I wish the Hex price was this hot. 36 degrees here in far north Queensland. Man, that's got to be one of the hottest places in the world there where you're living there, Brownie. That's for sure. Matt says, on the lead website, I don't see Matic anywhere. That's I sent, but worried that it's not in the lead website. Matic is may not be because it's just the ETH chain, so probably not querying that. You might want to put that, send them a Twitter note on that, Matt, to add that in. But in any case, you can just check your transaction hash to see that. I didn't see Matic anywhere, and that's what I have seen so far myself, says Matt. And Paul G says, so the more liquid going in, the less is in value, right? Not necessarily. I think it's all about the circulating supply, getting that small. That's how you pump the price there, getting more buyers in demand. That's the way I'd look at it, Paul. 37 degrees at Dubai. Wow, really? That's amazing. Heading back to the start of this live stream, exciting times 2022. Hey, Brownie. Hey, thanks for that. And enjoy the live stream. Look forward to any comment you might have afterwards, of course. I will respond to that. And Craig Wadding says Matic goes to same addy as the ETH, but on PulseX lead only shows ERC20s. That's right. So well said there, Craig. Yeah, we'll go to the same ETH address. You can send this to the ETH address on the ETH chain, which you can also use Polygon, which has Matic, of course. Matic's on Ethereum too, so it depends which Matic you sac. But if you're sacrificing on Polygon, you can send it to the same address because Polygon is the second layer of Ethereum. And of course, you can send it to if you got stuff on BSC or Binance Smart Chain, you can use that too because that's also a fork of Ethereum. So those ones you can all send it to the same Ethereum address. But if you're sending to stuff like Bitcoin, you need to generate your own address. So that's the differences there. But cool. Craig Waiting says my Matic and ETH have same address on my MetaMask. That's right. That's correct. So hopefully that helps. Let's jump back to. I think we're going to jump back to the sacrifice there. I think we've got up almost up to 20 minutes, folks. Let me just jump back here. Where's on this one here? Sorry. So yeah, we're these. Yeah, let's jump back to state. So if you're going to do Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, Matic, Avalanche, Ethereum Classic, or Ethereum Optimism, you can sacrifice to the same address here, OX07 DDC8, because they're all Ethereum compatible. Right, so these ones are all Ethereum compatible. If you're going to do other coins that are not on these ones EVM compatible, then you're going to go to, you have to go to like Bitcoin or something. You have to go to these other addresses like Litecoin. It's got its own address, Bitcoin Cash, and a Bitcoin probably to generate an address, stuff like that. There's got Terra, Theta, Zcash, Monero, Dogecoin, stuff like that. So just take that into account. Some of these are on multiple chains too. Just take the account, so you'll have the actual coin, and other times there'll be a token on another chain. So you got to just take that into account. Very, very cool. But just if you follow the instructions on pulsex.info, you should be fine on that. Very, very nice. All right, I think we're up to 1 hour and 21 minutes. Sounds good to me. Matt says, thanks, Craig. And yeah, man, I think it will be okay. I think it'll be perfectly fine if you send it to address. Cameron Clara says, can FTM ERC20 token be sacrificed? I don't know, check that. I'm familiar with that one. It should be fine on the ERC20. But once again, use pulsex.info. That should be fine if you do that. Use that. It will actually let you know on that one. But I think that they're going to pretty much honor most of those tokens that are on those chains. All right, let us get out here, and we're going to update this one more time, and we're going to end the live stream. So let me get into the chat there, and I do thanks to everybody for watching, of course, and don't forget to catch me tomorrow. I'll be live again tomorrow, of course, and a daily video will be out as well. I've got another specialty video coming out in a few hours' time. It's probably about 5-6 hours away, so that'll be coming out. That's a general one about crypto, so that'll be fun too. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. And here we are, $278.3 million on the Ethereum blockchain and another 13 million on the other chains, looking really good. What's that, about 292 million, heading towards 300 million. It's going to be pretty fun. Hopefully we'll be able to talk about that tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and if Craig Journeyman's in the house, hey, join just at the end there, Craig, and hit the like button before you go, absolutely. And let me get it. I'm going to finish this poll. We've got the poll, and how many? 120 votes. So we had 103 votes before, got 120 now. Let's end the poll here. Bam. Let's end that. It's going to show up in shortly. And let's go for that. I'm probably going to have that cup of tea now there, Craig. Maybe a cup of coffee. I don't know. We'll see what happens. There's the poll, folks. How much have you sacrificed of your planned amount of PulseX so far? 100% all in, baby. Yeah. So 40% out of 120 have sacrificed all 100% already. 0 to 25% is second place. We'll get there in the end. That's 28%. 51 to 99%. Well on my way to moon. That's 18% of people. And the last one, 26 to 50% of people waiting for higher prices, like Hex to go back up, is 13%. So very, very cool. Matt says, smash the like. Craig Wellington says, cheers. Hey, appreciate that. And bye for now. I think I'm about to end. All right. Did I put my things? I didn't actually. Let me have a look here. Bam, 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 and bam. And let's enter that. So bam. All right, there's my emojis, folks, for the channel. Subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. And you got to sacrifice it to make it, as they say. All right, bye for now. Take care. Woohoo! All right, yeah, let's go. I've got to end this channel. Where's the end?